On today's Go Angling Gear Guide, we're talking late summer patterns and techniques for catching northern pike and the occasional muskie on Mille Lacs Lake. Now, the presentation that we've been using this late summer period is a trolling presentation. What we're doing is we're trolling medium-sized crankbaits, and we're really cranking up the speed 3.5 to about 6 miles an hour, with that 4.5 mile an hour mark being kind of that sweet spot. And on Mille Lacs, what we've been finding is there's lots of different baits that you can use. Spoons, smaller crankbaits, but really what's been putting fish in the boat has been the Rapala Super Shad. It's not a giant bait by large pike or muskie standards, but what it does do at those higher trolling speeds, man, that thing really wobbles. It's a very aggressive crankbait, and it triggers a lot of reaction strikes from these pike and muskies living in the weeds. Now, one of the things we're doing is we're also combining that with a slower action, if you will, but heavy duty rod that can handle these baits. What I chose to use is one of the swim bait rods that I love to use when casting medium weight lures for northern pike. But it's got that slower tip where it's not such a pool cue. When a fish hits, I'm not gonna rip that bait free. This is a 7-foot, 11-inch extra heavy swim bait rod from Okuma, one of my favorite large predator rods without question. And on the reel end of things, we're fishing an Okuma Citrix spooled with 50 to 80 pound braid. You know, you're going to be pulling these baits through weeds. It's really nice to have that braided line so you can grab that rod out of the rod holder once you've kind of balled up your bait with weeds and give it a couple good hard pulls. Clear those weeds off. It will keep you from having to reel that bait all the way in. If you're fishing like a mono, you're going to have more stretch. You're just not going to be able to free those weeds quite as easily. And before I close here, one of the things that I noticed was when we were running these Super Shads, you're looking at about a 4-to-1 ratio on dive curve. I can get these baits down to about 15 feet, but what we're seeing is we want to keep those baits in about that 7 to 8 foot depth range. A lot of times these pike will be living well up off the bottom in these weeds. So when I say a 4-to-1, if I let out 4 feet of line, I'm going to get 1 foot of dive curve. So if I want to hit 7 foot, let out 28 foot of line. If I want to hit 8 foot, go to that 32, 33, 34 foot, and you're going to be right in the sweet spot. And don't be afraid of driving these baits right through the weed beds. Yes, you're going to snag up, but when you rip that bait free, they pop loose from the vegetation. Very often, that's when you're going to get pounded by some of these nice pike. So put these tips to use. You're going to be successful out there in Mille Lacs Lake catching some of these larger predators. And if the day's right, you might go home with one of those giant muskies the lake is known for.
For additional content related to this video, check out these videos, and don't forget to subscribe to In-Depth Outdoors and Gander Outdoors so you'll never miss a new video.